This is a bit of biology with Mr. Rock, and today we are going to be talking about chloroplast and photosynthesis. Just a broad overview and some of the main points about photosynthesis that I want to speak on before we actually get into the process are going to be, number one, we're going to talk about photosynthesis today, and that occurs in the chloroplast. The organisms that can do photosynthesis that have chloroplasts mainly are plants. So when you think of chloroplasts, I want you to think of plants, but then there's also some bacteria. In order to do photosynthesis, plants are going to need sun, water, and carbon dioxide. So those are the things that they take in. And that's what the first bullet point there says. It also says that at the equation here below. Sun, CO2, and water. And then what plants give us is glucose and oxygen. So plants give us oxygen. They also give us food to eat, which is glucose. Now it's time to get into the more detailed process of how photosynthesis actually works. So the two big things that I'm going to say is there are two different processes happening here, and they happen at the same time, and they're both dependent on each other. So the first process that I want to talk about here is on the left side, and it's called the light reaction. It is called the light reaction because it is the side, or it is the reaction that requires sunlight. So in the light reaction, there are two main things going in, and that is sunlight and water. And sorry, let me back up and just say that this picture is a chloroplast in a plant cell. So the picture is the organelle chloroplast. On the left side, we got light reaction. On the right side, we got dark reaction. Okay, so light reaction on the left. Sunlight and water go in. These discs right here that it goes into are called thylakoids. So these discs right here, they're stacked on top of each other. They're thylakoids. And what they do is they take in the sunlight and they take in the water, and they put out oxygen. So they take in sunlight and water and put out oxygen. The one thing I do want to emphasize here is the main point of the light reaction is for these thylakoids to take in the sunlight, and they want to make ATP. And ATP is going to be fuel. It's going to fuel the next reaction. So the light reaction's main purpose is to make ATP for the dark reaction, which is here on the right. What the dark reaction is, it takes place in the stroma, which is equivalent to the cytoplasm of a cell. The stroma is all the space in between in a chloroplast. So it takes place in the stroma, and it's a carbon conversion factory fueled by ATP. So what I mean by carbon conversion factory is it takes atmospheric carbon, which is CO2, and it converts it into a carbohydrate, which is glucose. So it's taking carbon in the air and turning it into food. This is a really difficult process, and for this reason, Calvin cycle, which is also known as the dark reaction, so Calvin cycle or the dark reaction, requires ATP. So ATP is going to be the fuel to get the carbon in the air into carbon that is food. It started down here, and I'm just actually going to make a point of circling it. Glucose is the main reason why we are doing, well, not we, but why plants are doing photosynthesis. They do photosynthesis to make glucose. Oxygen is just a byproduct. So the oxygen just comes out of the plant. They don't really need it. But the glucose is the whole reason why the plants are doing photosynthesis. Last thing I'll speak to is when ATP is finally used up in the Calvin cycle, it comes up. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. When it comes up on top here, ADP stands for adenosine diphosphate. And when you see that in biology class, know that there is no more energy in that molecule. So the energy has been used up. It's going to come back over to the light reaction to receive more energy. from the sun, and then it's going to continue just to loop back and forth, ATP to ADP. So these are just words that are summarizing the process that I just described with that picture. So light reaction, location is the thylakoid, purpose, make ATP to field dark reaction, or the Calvin cycle. There, two names there, same thing. It takes in sun and water, and it puts out ATP and oxygen. That's the purpose of the light reaction. You need a thylakoid to do that, and this is in the chloroplast. The dark reaction is also known as the Calvin cycle. This is taking place in the stroma. So that is all the space in between all the thylakoids. The purpose of the dark reaction is to convert atmospheric carbon, so to take CO2 and turn it into glucose, and this reaction, this process requires ATP. Wrapping up, final points here is summary of photosynthesis. Number one, convert sunlight into food. That's what that whole purpose is for, is to make glucose. This is happening in the chloroplast. The plant produces glucose, and oxygen is a byproduct. This has been a bit of biology with Mr. Rock. I'm signing off.